Whew, man, AFC North football. I'm just really appreciative of the efforts of the guys in that locker room there. Everybody just played a selfless game. You know, they put the collective in front of personal agendas, man, and we fought. And that's the only way you get out of those environments, particularly with some of the adversity that we face today, some of which was created by us, some of which was created by me.
Hi everybody, welcome to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. I'm Missi Matthews. The Steelers back in Pittsburgh after beating the Cleveland Browns 15-10 on Halloween Day. Let's welcome in our panelists today to dissect the Steelers win. We have Mike Prisuta of the DVE Morning Show and also Steelers.com, former offensive lineman and of the DVE Steelers Radio Network, Craig Wolfley and Arthur Moats, Hall of Famer. Had to throw it in there one more time, also of Steelers Nation Radio. All right, it was a wild one, but the Steelers ended up with the W. AFC North opponent knew that they needed it, above 500. Now, Mike, what did you learn about the Steelers team?
That there's still potential there. I thought it was going to be a pretty good team coming into the season, a team that would contend for the division championship and the playoffs. It was a goofy start to the year. The win in Buffalo was unanticipated, at least on my end. The 3-game losing streak that followed was definitely unanticipated on my end. Didn't see anything definitive beating Denver and Seattle. I thought yesterday, Missy, was a day that they had to show up and ante up and kick in and stand up and be counted and whatever cliche you want to throw in there. It was time to play winning football. They did it on the road in the division against what I still think is a very good Cleveland team. I think that's who they are yesterday. It might not be a work of art, but the job can get done.
Wolf, what did you learn about the Steelers?
Well, that Chris Boswell doesn't want to play quarterback, and
he said he's dressed up as a QB for Halloween. That's what he posted after the game. Said he's okay.
You can have fun now that he's okay. Everything's good with that. I always wanted to say, yesterday I was dying to say, I wonder, if Boz has landed in the land of Oz right now after he took that shot, because that was quite a shot. But, you can see and have appreciation for what Ben goes through. But personally, it's really about the running game coming alive. You've got your some of the Clem maniacs up front getting after it in a way that we had not seen yet. You had the defense playing their gaps, staying in their gaps, doing such a great job. And, kudos to a rookie class that really came through big yesterday in Cleveland. These young bucks are really important moving forward.
All right, well, we're going to talk about those rookies a little bit later in the show. But Moats, we are 7 games in now for the Steelers. What have you learned about them through this process?
Just they're a resilient bunch. We talk about the adversity that this O-line has faced, right? At times they were viewed as the black sheep, the weak link, but now we're seeing that, hey, they're continuing to get better. And now it's also paying dividends because we're seeing Najee Harris be able to get better as well because of their effort up front, because of the holes that they've made. But when I think of their resilience, I think of a team that they played a whole second half without being able to kick field goals. I mean, even kick off at some point, right? But they still found a way to win. We talk about this defense and some of the players that were going to be missing. They still found a way to get the job done. So when I think of this team, I just think of how resilient they are. And to me, they can continue that because the skill development is going to keep happening. We talk about the O-line, but the Clemaniacs, as Wolf likes to put it, those guys are going to keep growing and getting better. But that resiliency that they keep showing, you either have that or you don't. And to see that they already have that in their makeup, in their foundation, it just makes me feel more optimistic about this team as they get down the stretch.
By the way, not to wish concussion on anybody, but is anybody else with me that the game would be better without kicking? Just eliminate the field goal, eliminate the extra point. Let's play AFC North, Big Ten, mano a mano, move the football or don't. I could do without 3 at a time. How about you guys?
I'm just laughing, Prisuta, because kickers don't matter until they matter. Nobody cared about kickers until that second half, and we're kicking off with Presley, and we're like, whoa, wait a minute here. So I will stand on the table for my man Boswell and other specialists going forward. Yes, y'all are still a part of the family.
We're not going to run that up the suggestion poll there for the competition committee, Prisuta. But all right, Triv, I want to start with you for this one. Talking about the Browns run game, Coach Tomlin made it very clear all week. The defense followed suit, stopping the run. The Browns only had 96 rushing yards. Nick Chubb only had 61. What did the defense do so well to stop it?
Two words, and they're from the mouth of T.J. Watt: assignment football. You know, that might have got lost in all the post-game analysis. A lot of guys talking about resiliency and character, and I get that. Those emotions that Arthur just referenced, those are important. But when you're lined up against a guy, you two guys played. Correct me if I'm wrong. You either had the physicality or you didn't. You didn't do it with your heart. You did it with your muscle, with your leg drive, with your technique. And to me, the play of the game, first play of the second quarter, 4th and 1, and the Browns go for it with Nick Chubb. And it starts with Cam Hayward blowing the extra offensive tackle back into the middle. T.J. Watt beats a tight end block on the backside. Devin Bush beats a block on the front side. Joe Hayden comes flying up so that when Chubb tries to bounce it outside, he's got to go back inside. Then Devin Bush is waiting for him. T.J. Watt's about to catch him from behind. Here comes Joe Schobert. Here comes Hayward. It looked like a team picture of the defense. Assignment football, 1,000 miles an hour. Don't be denied. Be the better man. It was a beautiful thing. When I saw them stuff that, I thought, okay, these guys came here to play today.
Assignment
You
football.
almost put a tear to my eye right there, man. The way you just broke that play down, man. It's not often the front 7 guys get that type of attention. So I really appreciate
I've watched
you.
it like 9 times. I keep rewinding it. It's tremendous. Everybody did their job. What do they always preach, right? Do your 111. Trust the guy next to you. And I think if I could just elaborate a little bit here, Missy, I think where some of that came from, again, from T.J. Watt, they were so focused on stopping the run, they didn't allow themselves to pin their ears back and go sack seeking and do anything off color outside the lines. They were that Cleveland running game had their attention, and they knew to stop it. They had to play the right way. And I think now that they did, everybody's probably looking around. Hey, all this stuff the coaches have been yelling at, it works. We should probably do this a little more. I don't have to be Superman. I got to do my part, and the guy next to me is going to do his, and it can work.
And they still had 4 sacks, so they still were able to get to Baker Mayfield, who's dealing with a bum shoulder, so that was able to work. Now, Wolf, I know you talked a little bit about the Steelers' offensive line. We saw Najee Harris, 26 carries. The Steelers had over 100 yards rushing. What worked for them yesterday?
You know, it's real simple because it's the adverse of what Mike was just talking about. And it's funny, I'm pointing like we're sitting together, and
you don't know where the boxes
realize
are.
Exactly what's the point, right? So I'm watching the offensive line. Let me give you an example. All right, Najee's 6-yard TD run where he airmailed himself into the end zone, okay? Now, in weeks previous, we've watched that counter trap happen. And what happens? Well, you don't get the down block. The genius block on the backside has penetration. You got this. You don't get the kick out. If you watch that tape and run that over, Kevin Dotson comes across and blows up on the trap, kicks a guy out. You got Chukes Okorafor, gets up to second level, puts the linebacker on skates, take him back into the goal line. You got Trey Turner blocking down, sealing the whole inside. Kendrick Green blocks back, sealing on the backside between Dan Moore and himself, a genius block. 3 guys, they get 2 guys, right? All you got to do, make sure whoever's there, you doesn't run through. And Najee just goes right up the hole and boom, like I said, airmails himself. Everybody got their block, paid attention to great detail and getting it done, and it was leaning green all the way to the end zone. That's the difference. When you execute and get hat on hat, and even more so, get body on body, where you're moving people, man, oh man, it's a beautiful thing, and that was just simply gorgeous to watch.
Arthur,
I'll give you one more. This is a play that didn't work, but if you look back when Roethlisberger was sacked by Malik McDowell, I think it was, Dan Moore is driving Myles Garrett into the ground. He's pancaking him. 95 ends up on his back. I mean, that kind of physicality from a rookie against that guy who is about as good as it gets rushing the passer. When you get that kind of compete level, even when it goes wrong, it goes right.
Exactly.
Arthur, as a linebacker, during pregame warmups, Coach Tomlin was surrounding the linebackers, before they do the who ride, we ride, and every single guy, he said, linebackers will determine the outcome of this game. How much pressure was on those guys yesterday?
Man, it was a good amount of pressure, but rightfully so, because Coach Tomlin was 100% right. The linebackers provide the wave in terms of the leadership, the communication. pass rush, we talk about TJ, but also in the run game, we talk about with Devin and Joe. And the thing that I was impressed with that group was, number one, how they flew around, but number two, think about their tackling. In weeks past, that's been, something that we've talked about with this defense, about the amount of missed tackles and things like that. But I thought as a whole, and especially with that linebacker unit, they were clean with their tackling. Now, was it perfect? Absolutely not. But in terms of just that element being just clear, because when you're facing a team like Cleveland that can run the ball as well as they can, you cannot miss tackles. Missed tackles are the easiest way for a team like Cleveland to sustain drives and to ultimately, kill the clock and win. But because they were able to be short tackles, because they were able to knock their running backs backwards as well, right? Not letting them get those hitting yards that we saw Najee thriving with at times on Sunday. That to me was the biggest difference. And once again, when Coach Tomlin is talking to that linebacker unit, he's talking to them for a reason, because he knows not just this is something that they need to hear, but they also are capable of living up to that. And that's the difference. And I thought that they showed that on Sunday.
All right, guys, we have much more to talk about. The Steelers' 15-10 win over the Cleveland Browns. When we return, we're going to talk about the rookie class, the fake field goal. We'll get your thoughts on that. The extra point presented by Microsoft Surface. We'll be right back.
The kicker, Chris Boswell, trying to get his second of the game. There's the snap. It's a fake. He's rolling right. He's looking. He's running. He throws it for the back of the end zone, and it is incomplete. Too high for Zach Gentry. And Boswell, shaken up on the play, is down on the near sideline.
Welcome back to the Extra Point presented by Microsoft Surface. We talked about it a little bit earlier, Wolf. It was not pretty. It did not go well. Coach Tomlin immediately after the game, didn't even have to be asked about it, took the responsibility for it. So, Triv, we'll start with you. Thoughts on that?
Mike Tomlin mentioned something to the effect of one of the reasons it went wrong was the Browns got a picture of it, I think was how he put it. And I wasn't sure what he meant. Other than he wanted the play to go off quicker. I went back and looked at it today, and here's what I noticed. On the 31-yard field goal where they actually kicked the ball, the tight ends were on both sides of the formation. Pat Freiermuth was on the left and Gentry was on the right. When they went for the fake, both tight ends were on the right side, and there was only four. The formation was tilted. On the first one, there were an equal amount of players on either side of the long snapper. And on the second one, it was tilted right. Also, if you look at the second one, the fake, number 4 for Cleveland, Anthony Walker, and number 22, Grant Delpit, they're kind of just off the line. And they got their hands up and they're yelling. And 22 starts running toward the tight ends even before the ball is snapped. So Cleveland knew it was coming for whatever reason. There's got to be a check out there. And even with all of that, it looked like initially if Boswell would have thrown it quickly, he had a shot to either 81 in the end zone or 88 in the flat in one-on-one coverage. He just kind of held the ball. I guess he was waiting for somebody to be wide open. And the longer he held it, the more Zach Gentry drew a crowd in the end zone. And the longer he held it, the play had no chance. I like the initiative and the thought process and the philosophy of, hey, let's go really stick it in the end zone here and really grab a hold of this game. But it was clear Cleveland knew something was up pre-snap and got to figure a way out of that next time, I think.
Wolf, when that's, unfolding in the game, what are your thoughts?
Well, it was really summarized by the great Bill Hillgrove in his call. When you hear he's looking, he's running. That's too long. That's just too long. You've got Freiermuth underneath. You've got Zach running to the back of the end zone. You got 6'12", but 6'12", had 4 people around him. Freiermuth was there. It would have been a shot because it would have been just a chance at it because you've got a guy closing on him. But I think that Boz needs to understand what an NFL window is versus a collegiate window when you throw the ball. And it would have been, like Mike said, it would have been nicer for him to unload the ball earlier. Certainly you don't want to take the horns of the bull that is Jordan Elliott.
Arthur, I can't remember if you were still with the Steelers. You know, Boz did complete a fake field goal. He threw a touchdown pass to Alejandro
2018.
Villanueva. Let me take you into halftime, not knowing what's going to happen as you're watching the game, Arthur. What do you think was happening in terms of who was going to kick or if they're going to go for two or that?
Yeah, I think that when you talk about Boz being out, it isn't just as simple as can Presley Harvin start kicking field goals, because now you talk about the operation. His operation was he's the holder. So now you bring in a new guy. We know Cam Sutton has been practicing at that, but I think we would all agree it's a big difference between practicing holding the football on a kick versus actually having to do it in the game. Just the operation speed as well. It's a lot that goes into that. So once I saw that and I knew that, hey, Boz isn't going to come back, I did think that the team would be just super aggressive and continue to go for it in those situations, because it's just too much negativity that you can open yourself up to with that. But as a whole, I mean, you can't ever go back in time and say, well, man, because this happened and that happened, that means we shouldn't have went for it, because I don't think that either. I like the call in terms of being aggressive. And as you brought up, Missy, it's worked before in the past and we all loved it. The biggest thing is, if you're not going to make the throw early, get rid of the ball, because the longer you hold that ball, as Wolf said and as Billy Hillgrove said, it's never going to be good. And as a defender, we love to see specialists trying to hold that ball, because that's our chance to remind them that, hey, y'all aren't real people until we really need y'all. So once again, but as a whole, I didn't have an issue with the call. But yeah, I did think going forward that they were going to be forced to be a lot more aggressive, though, with the offense, because you weren't going to be able to kick the ball successfully.
All right, we've been talking a lot about this rookie class, especially the four guys on offense. Triv, were you expecting those guys to make such an impact this early in the season?
3 out of 4. I liked Kendrick Green. If you followed all of our pre-draft stuff back in the late winter, early spring, I thought he looked like a good third-round pick all along. And him being from the Big Ten, he's clearly a superior player and a superior intellect.
There it is.
Najee Harris, you know, what's not to like about him? I mean, since day one, the expectations have been high for this guy. When you hear him explaining yesterday how the running game has to percolate and you got to give it time, and he goes and talks to the offensive linemen, what do they like and what do they think works? And I mean, this guy talks like a 10-year vet, and he's got the skills of whatever you need to do, he can do it. Freiermuth, I think, is being a little underutilized. I hope they go to him more. I think he's a tremendous offensive weapon. The one that really surprises me is Dan Moore, because I didn't anticipate him playing this year unless something goofy happened. And guess what? Something goofy happened. Zach Banner wasn't ready, and he ended up flipping Chukwuma Okorafor over. Dan Moore, look to me, Wolf, you're the O-line expert on the panel here, but I didn't think he was getting a ton of help. And I know Ben was helping him by getting rid of the ball quick, but they told him to block Myles Garrett, and the son of a gun did it.
You know, you got to respect the young man that goes into a hostile environment like that, maybe facing one of the fiercest body baggers known to the NFL in Myles Garrett, and be able to go up against him. Man, he got some help, but he didn't get an overabundance of help. I mean, I can tell you what, if that was me when I went out to tackle, like I say, give me the wall, give me the tight end chip, give me the ball boy in my rear pocket, I'm going to throw it at him. I want everything, all right? Leave Tunchilkin alone at right tackle, you know, if you're going to stick me at left tackle. But I salute the young man. Dan Moore did a fine job. And I'll tell you another rookie that has made an impression on me is Trey Norwood. Didn't get a lot of snaps yesterday, but I will tell you that kid has put in some serious snaps way over and above what I thought he was going to be capable of doing when he first came here. This is a good rookie class. They're doing a lot of stuff. And the Freiermuth, man, is he a lot of fun to watch. I just really enjoy watching that kid play.
In terms of the point on Freiermuth, Arthur, you know, after the game, they were talking about the touchdown, and he said all training camp, all this season, he's been working on keeping 2 feet in, because it's a little different than college. Able to do that yesterday. Who else from this rookie class is impressing you?
Man, I feel like, you know, obviously we bring up Najee because he has been the cream of the crop, but you brought up the guy, Pat. To me, I'm just happy that we're utilizing him more, because all of us that were able to watch him during training camp, this isn't new to us. We saw him do this to everyone in training camp, day in and day out. And it was kind of frustrating when you get to the regular season and you're saying, well, man, we know how talented this kid is. Why don't we use him more? Why don't we target him more? But ever since Ben, I think it was 2 weeks ago, he said, man, I got to do a better job of getting Pat more involved. Ever since then, we've seen his productivity go up in a crazy way. And he's built for this, man. You talk about the Big Ten and how just amazing of a conference that is. He's showing once again that might hold a little bit true. You know, it's not JMU or nothing like that, but it works. But as a whole, man, I'm just really impressed with what Pat's been able to do. And not just as a receiver, as a blocker as well. You watch him on some of these run plays. He is not afraid to put his face in there. He's not afraid to mix it up. And he has the physicality and the physical nature to do it at a high level as well.
Fryermuth played 78% of the snaps. Zach Gentry, I know he's not a rookie, 61. No Eric Ebron yesterday. I think we've all been pleading, use the middle of the field, get to the tight ends. But I'm sure we'll talk about that a lot more as the week continues. The Steelers getting ready for a Monday night game hosting the Chicago Bears. So the week will be a little bit longer, but we'll have complete coverage. Guys, thanks so much for joining me here today for Victory Monday.
What's up, Steelers Nation? It's TJ Watt. Welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers official YouTube channel. Make sure you subscribe to our channel to stay up to date on everything going on in the Steel City. Thank you for being the best fans in football. Here we go.